forward to. Oh, there we go. So thank you so much for joining us. For those of you that were online a couple of minutes ago, you got a little bit of a taste of what to expect in our annual general meeting today. So this is our normal webinar, but we thought it might be quite suitable for the closure of our year to give you a little bit of a taste of what we've been dealing with during the course of the year. I must say that I think our team is a little bit nervous to have me as an owner or proxy holder in an annual general meeting. I normally get paid to be the disruptive one in a meeting, so I've got a lot of practice with that. But we'll try to be constructive in our disruptions today, just to teach you along the way. So we have asked Poena from MeetingPal, as you can see, to kindly host today's webinar. And I must first say that Poena has gladly accepted the challenge on a very, very short notice period. My partner, Nicole, always ensures that everything is well planned beforehand. But as soon as I am given a little bit of leeway, I always try to overcomplicate matters quite substantially. And both Poena and Carl have been very patient with me in adding and deleting and subtracting from this process today. So Poena, firstly, on behalf of TVDM, thank you so much for putting up this platform and for showing us how quickly you can do it as well. It'll be very interesting during the course of the meeting to see what all MeetingPal can do during the course of an annual general meeting. And of course, some of you that have not had experience with it has been able to see how you register, how you get documentation, and all of those fun things. During the course of the meeting, I would like to ask you to please participate. Anything that you believe is correct or incorrect, if you can please point that out, it'll be great. And if you have any questions about the functionality of the platform, please feel free to interrupt and ask. You can put your camera off, put your camera on, you can mute yourself, unmute yourself, you can put your hand up, all those fun things. And today we've also been joined by a few of our colleagues, which is really great. And for those of you that did go and join our neighborhood and download the meeting pack, you would have seen that we did try to prepare it as close to an annual general meeting as possible. You'll notice that there are a few extra documents and perhaps a couple of documents missing. So we'll deal with that during the course of the meeting as well. And a few of our colleagues in the industry assisted us in sending some information through. So please do go and have a look at that. As always, the session is recorded and a copy of it will be made available on our website. And then just to not confuse the roles, Nicole now will be chairing the meeting. Poena is facilitating the meeting with MeetingPal. I will be a disruptive owner, and I hope that I'll be joined by a few of you as well. And hopefully a couple of you will keep me in my place as well as a disruptive owner. Carl, over to you to do the intro, and then the meeting can get started.
Thanks so much, Celinda. Sure, I can't believe that this is our last webinar of the morning, or of the year, sorry. But good morning. I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you so much for tuning in today. As Linda also mentioned, this will be recorded and published on our YouTube channel. So please remember to go and like and subscribe to us. And that way you can keep up to date with all our webinars as they are posted. And then if you haven't already, please do also sign up to receive our newsletter. This way you can keep in touch with the TVDM consultant. And then while in the spirit of the festive season and gift giving, we encourage you to please remember the less fortunate during this time. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyle. All right, without any further ado, everybody, I declare the meeting officially opened. And the first item on our agenda is to confirm the proxies, nominees, and other persons representing members. And I would just like to note that I personally have received a proxy from Andries Erasmus. So thank you so much, Andries. It was received before the start of the meeting, so it is valid. Poena, I'm not sure if you received any other proxies that you would like to note.
No, we have received that proxy. I have loaded it, though it was from a trust. Technically, we do require the resolution document and not the proxy. But in the light of the example, I've used it also to assign the proxy to Andries, from the trust to Andries, and I've also renamed the unit that we represent as per the trust instructions.
Thank you.
Can I just, sorry, Zelina, I see you've got your hand up. I just want to quickly point out At this point in time, the meeting was set up because we did not have everybody's participation quotas, and you had to register outside of the system. What we can do within MeetingPal is we can facilitate where you register, and then we assign units, and that's why the unit numbers are very weird. Unfortunately, the unit numbers are very weird because it's a generated unit based on the registrations. We have then, therefore, also for everybody in attendance, we have now set up a participation quota. Effectively, it still adds up to 100, but it then is a split based, and so everybody is then having an equal participation quota. Obviously, we will use the correct PQs when we do run a proper meeting. I will also now turn the meeting into, you'll see at the bottom that you can only chat. So what I'll do is I'll turn the meeting now into an official meeting where I will allow everybody then, let me just turn off the video mode, and then as we step through the meeting, you'll see that you can now see the voting at the bottom of your screen, see vote and agenda and the details and also the downloads. Thank you, Madam Chair. You may please proceed.
Thank you so much, Poena. Zelinda, I think your hand was raised first.
Yes, thank you so much. Are we going to know who is in attendance at this meeting?
Yes, I can give you a full-on attendance register after the meeting with proxies that they represent, as well as everybody in attendance.
Thank you.
Sandy, your hand was raised. Okay, cool. Joan?
Yes. Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm going to be disruptive as well. I always am. Not a popular move, but a necessary move.
Welcome,
proxies. I do actually find that at my complex, which is 78 units, there are enormous amount of proxies going through without being checked, without anything. I've taken upon myself to do a really big study on proxies, and I try to check the proxies before the minutes are written. However, I would like to suggest that we have a webinar on proxies. It's a very important thing, and there are, so I mean, I live in a flat for 25 years, my son's overseas in America. I own a flat, what the hell? Maybe it's in my son's name, but it's not on. It's got to be correct. So can we perhaps put that down on the agenda? Thank you.
Perhaps, Joan, perhaps we could add it as a directive at the end of the meeting, that one of our next meetings next year focuses on proxies only.
Is it?
Yes.
You are such a star. Thank you.
Perfect. Marion?
Hi. Yes. I'm not sure that a webinar on proxies would be useful. I think you'd be preaching to the converted. The problem is we've got more than 300 units, and maybe you wouldn't be amazed, but it's horrifying how many owners, mostly it's the joint owners, you can give it in the pack, you can write it in the pack, you can send it in email reminders, you can even tell them in the first meeting, which isn't quorate, so we're going to adjourn to the next week, you tell them again they need to bring a proxy, and they just don't. It's terrifying. We've been running hybrid meetings for a few years, and if they physically attend, quite often the two of them come together. So you hand them a proxy form and you tell them to fill it in on the spot. But of course, if they're online, you can't do that. And we had, I think by the end of our meeting, because I did the minutes, there were six units where the attendees at the meeting had to be actually disqualified because there was no proxy form.
Interesting. Thank you, Marianne. Perfect. Okay, I think then we can confirm then the proxies received, and Zelinda, we will have a copy of the attendance register as per MeetingPal's generation of documents. All right, and then just to determine that there is a quorum, Poena did confirm earlier that we were over the threshold, but I see that some members have joined us in the meantime, so perhaps you could just confirm the quorum right now for us, please, Poena.
So I can confirm currently as it stands, we are on 63.4409% of members in attendance.
Perfect.
So even if people drop off, we'd still be good to proceed with matters at that.
Thank you. Yes, Linda, your hand is raised.
I note that we're going to be dealing with exclusive use areas later in the meeting. My understanding was that it was going to be done as registered exclusive use areas, and that's by unanimous resolution. And we obviously don't have a sufficient quorum for unanimous resolution. So what is the plan with that? I mean, if I could be here, I find it really disheartening that my fellow members could not be bothered to attend.
Well, unfortunately, because we don't have the 80% threshold, we cannot table the item for voting. However, we can still discuss it and get member feedback on it, but we will have to present the unanimous resolution either at a later meeting or via round robin. Yes?
Can we not just vote now
No.
and then the remainder of the owners can vote outside of the meeting? But I mean, we're all here, so why can't we?
I understand, and I know it's really frustrating, but I totally get it. But the problem is that when we send the document or the resolution or moving forward, it's going to be challengeable because a resolution needs to be taken at one point in time and either at a meeting or via round robin. Unfortunately, we break the process up. Awesome. All right, then on to the next item, which is to elect a person to chair this meeting. I've been asked to chair this meeting. My name is Nicole Null. I'm a sectional title consultant for TVDM Consultants. Yes, Linda?
I'd just like to raise my objection because you sent me a legal letter not too long ago telling me that I couldn't keep my 5th cat. And I think that that's really not on because I, don't let my cats go out. They're not causing anybody any nuisance or disturbance. And, quite honestly, if I want to have 10 cats, then that's my problem, So I don't think that you are impartial and independent.
Well, unfortunately, ma'am, that was a totally separate situation. And unfortunately, the body corporate's rules only provide, shockingly, for a maximum of 4 cats. So unfortunately, it wasn't my personal decision, but all of the members online have voted for a maximum of 4 cats and 2 dogs being permitted. Unfortunately, it's not possible for the trustees to make allowances for only specific owners. Andries or Sandy and then Andries?
Hi, Nicole, you said you're going to chair the meeting. I've never met you before. I don't think you're one of the trustees of the scheme. Are you a trustee here or are you someone visiting us?
So I'm an independent third party who has been asked to chair the meeting by the trustees. Andries? Or Aubrey? Whoever has their hand raised, you can unmute yourself.
Just by way of quick introduction again, hover over the names. There will be a menu bar that pop up and just click on the microphone icon to unmute yourself.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say, can we please move on this meeting? This is really now wasting time.
Perfect. So far we only have one official objection. It seems that everyone else online is fine with me chairing. If the members,
I'll just withdraw it. It's fine. Just go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, next up is presentation of the proof of notice of the meeting. As Ms. van der Merwe pointed out earlier, the notice was unfortunately only sent out yesterday, but due to unfortunate errors, we were waiting on documents from service providers and it was unfortunately out of our control. But everyone has shown up to the meeting, so that's great. It seems that everyone received the notice and everyone received the link. So I think let's just move on then. It's not a voting item. And then we'll just go straight on to approve the agenda. So this is an annual general meeting. We have a prescribed agenda as per the prescribed management rules of the Sectional Title Schemes Management Act. Is everyone in favor to approve the agenda?
Aren't we voting on it? It's a voting item.
I've set it as a voting item, Madam Chair. I'll open up the voting. And everybody has two options of voting. So you click on the bottom left corner there for the voting button. Click on that, it will slide open with your voting, and then you can cast your vote. Remember to submit your vote, so you may change your mind up to the submission, and then once it's submitted, the bar will go green, but you can again circle back up to the point where the voting will be closed. Whatever the last vote would be, you can then resubmit your votes accordingly. Or you can do it under the agenda, and it will slide open, and under the agenda item, you can also see the voting items as we step through the agenda. Thank you, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. Cylinder?
Are we going to know who voted, or are they secret votes?
So we do have the record of the votes. We do not disclose the votes exactly as it stands during the meeting. You're welcome to approach your POPI officer should you have a query that, and ask for the who voted for what. We do capture all the actual votes and who voted. But it's not public. It's not disclosed in the meeting.
And then, Poena, did you mention that we would be able to see the votes, or are we just waiting for the results of the voting?
What I can do is I've got two options. I can share my screen. You can see how it votes. But let me share my screen. You can see the votes as they come in. But we can also then, from that point, once we have finalized the results, we can make it available and so that everybody can see it. And we freeze it, and there will then be a record that can't be changed and or touched. Aubrey, you've got your hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I see Mr. Glenn van der Vyver is online. I heard stories that he hadn't paid his levies for the last 3 months. Is he entitled to vote?
Yes, Aubrey, to answer your question, absolutely, he is entitled to vote. An owner is only excluded from voting on ordinary resolutions. Just let me answer your question clearly. He's only excluded from voting on ordinary resolutions when an adjudication or court order has been handed down against the owner, declaring that they are in arrears. And even if that was the case, he still would not be excluded from voting on unanimous or special resolutions. So a short answer to your question, it does not affect his attendance at this meeting at all. But yes, over to you, sorry.
Yeah, I don't like the answer, but I'll accept it.
Understood, thank you. Perfect. Okay, so I think then we've got a 96%, so allow us to move on to the next item of the agenda, which is to approve the minutes from the previous general meeting. Yes, Cylinder.
I obviously was the only owner to vote against it because clearly my fellow members don't know the Sectional Title Schemes Management Act as well as I do. But I also gave a reason for my no vote. Are you able to see the reason for the no vote?
Sorry. I'm having problems turning off my phone. There we go. Apologies for that. Yes, I have the reason for your no vote. I can see the reasons, vote list. I can see the reasons. And as for the no vote, let me just scroll to the...
It's obviously very important for you to see the reason for the no vote because I will be making an application to the Community Scheme Ombud Service. I know that it is going to take me at least 3 years before I get an audience with them, but I will still make an application.
That's fine. We do acknowledge that. We do have record of your no vote as well as the reason. Please note that typically under ordinary resolutions, no votes do not require a reason. As per CSO's request, we have built it in on resolutions as well, but it's specifically applicable to special and unanimous resolutions where you would please be requested to actually provide a no reason that we can then use the trustees to approach CSOS for reprieve should that be the case.
Thank you so much, Poena. Perfect. So then I think let's move on to the approval of the minutes from the previous annual general meeting. Poena, I'm not sure if you have anything to say on that. You're just on mute.
I just want to announce the results. So 96, the order of the agenda has been approved by 96.428% of owners voting in favour, and one no vote, which is then 3.5714% of owners. The question may be why so few, and why is one vote carry so much weight? It is because of an ordinary resolutions are only calculated against those members that have voted, not against everybody in attendance, as per the SR or a unanimous resolution.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming. Zelinda?
So I received the minutes as part of the pack. I wasn't at the meeting, but can I still comment on the validity of the minutes? Because I can't imagine that this is what happened at the last meeting.
So unfortunately not. It's actually in terms of the common law of meetings that only a person who was physically in attendance at that meeting can certify the validity of those minutes because they were actually there and can attest to what happened. Marion? You just on mute, Marion?
Where do I find this common law of meetings, please?
There is a book available. I can send the relevant information to the managing agent to circulate to all members afterwards.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, are there any comments from anyone who was in attendance at this meeting and who would like to say anything on the minutes? Shall we open it up to the vote?
Voting has been opened. Again, to confirm, click on the vote button. It will present you with your voting card. And please remember to submit. So I can confirm currently 29.5% of owners have casted their votes. There's a hand, Madam Chair.
Zelinda, over to you.
So you do know that I wasn't at the meeting, but based on everybody's silence, I assume that everyone else was happy. So I voted in favor. I've just voted in favor of the minutes to move on.
Thank you. Okay, Cole, over to you.
There's no units assigned to my name, so I can't vote.
Must be in arrears, eh?
No, Carl, as stated, let me just do a reapportionment of the PQs. Normally, the units will be assigned based on on your participation quota sheet, but for this meeting, because we did not have the details of the values of the participation quotas, we have set it up that you register, and then after the registration, we have converted that into PQ values. I'll just set it again for you, so you will also see a PQ value, and then based on that, you'll be able to vote.
Thank you. Aubrey?
We have a very small complex, and all are new owners since last year. What happened now? Because nobody was there from last year to approve the minutes.
Yep, that is an interesting situation, an unfortunate situation. Marion and then Sandy.
Yes, I wasn't at last year's meeting, so I can't say I can't have no comment at all about whether the minutes are accurate or not. There isn't an abstain button, so how do I show that I'm actually not? I want to abstain. Do I just not vote?
Yes, you just don't vote.
Madam
Sandy?
Chair, if you like, I can push through a abstain button for the members to be able to cast their votes as an abstention, though the Act do require only a yes/no on the voting card. But it's up to you. With your guidance, I can present them with an abstain button.
I think rather not. Let's rather leave it off.
Perfect.
Sandy?
Just a couple of things. Someone asked about the meeting handbook. Here it is. So here it is. You can have a look at it. We'll do it from Xerox. The second thing is the meeting is dragging on a little bit slower. So can we maybe pick up the pace? Because I've only got an hour and we've already skipped half an hour of the meeting. So we've got a lot to get through. So if you can expedite it would be great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Sandy. All right. So next we are moving on to the chairperson's report.
Madam Chair, before we move on, I just would like to announce the results. 88%, 54% of the owners have voted, and there's 88% of the owners have approved the minutes. 11.4% did not approve it, but the resolution does carry, and you may proceed.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Then to move on to the chairperson's report, we did circulate it. So first of all, we do not have any trustees in the scheme. We have an executive managing agent, and we have included their feedback and interim report in the pack. So it won't be presented, and we will take it as owners having read it. Okay, Marion.
Yeah, okay. If you have an executive managing agent, then I'm not sure how the trustee report must work. Presumably that replaces it. But yeah, I put my hand up before I noticed the EMA part. Surely it's not called a chairperson's report. It's called a trustee report. And it should have input from all the trustees.
So just getting my trustee act out. So yes, it is called the trustees report, but generally the chairperson's report, it falls under the same vein. It is, as you can see in the report that was provided, it does cover all the aspects of management and administration that the traditional trustees would usually take over. So it was just a semantic use of the word. So Linda?
Thank you to my fellow owner, Marion, for pointing that out. I can see that the agenda was a simple copy and paste from the prescribed management rules. I do understand the need to have the legalities met, but obviously if it could have been specified that it's an executive managing agent report, that would be preferable. I must say, and I must compliment, and I don't compliment very often, that Michael and his team from, is it ZD? Fin or Zfin?
Zfin.
Yeah, that they've been very good. Michael and I have had words previously, but generally speaking, they are very quick to correspond, and things have been happening in the scheme. I can walk outside and I can see that maintenance has been undertaken. I saw the team from Neighbourhood was there the other day, Philip and Yanni, and they were coming to do the maintenance, repair and replacement plan that I see is not part of the pack. It is 8 years since the requirement for a maintenance, repair and replacement plan has been there, but I did see that they were on site. So for that, I'm grateful. So I'd just like to note that, put it on the record, please, that the executive managing agent has been doing a good job.
Perfect. Thank you so much for those kind words. All right. Perfect. So then I think as this is just a consideration once again, we can then move on to the next item, which is a voting item. And this is the so I see we will be doing the body corporate management conduct rules reviews and any lodgements. I can confirm that there haven't been any updates to the body corporate management and conduct rules. So then we can move on to point 5, which is the annual financial statements. And unfortunately, members, you would note that the annual financial statements were not included in the meeting pack. I'd just like to provide a reason why before I hand over to you, Zelinda. It was an unfortunate error. The body corporate, as I've been informed, has been having a lot of issues with its auditors. As I understand it, this particular auditing firm has given notice to all of its bodies corporate, indicating that they are no longer doing body corporate auditing. And we are still waiting on the auditors for the annual financial statements. Zelinda, over to you.
Madam Chair, before we move to Zelinda, I'd just like to point out that we have moved from item J, which is the schedule of insurance replacement values, into the auditors. Can we please just remind me of the agenda, please?
Yes, sorry.
That's what I wanted to point out as well, because on my agenda, it should go from the reports, which was item number I, to J, the approval of the schedules of insurance. But thank you for that comment about the auditors, because I did want to propose, when can I propose a change of auditors?
So I think then, sorry, let's wait until we get to the auditor part, and then we can do the change of auditors. Sorry, let us then move on to point J, which is the approval of the schedules. Sandy?
Sorry, just a question. Which
Sorry, I was next in line to speak.
Are we with?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yes, I raised my hand first.
I'm sorry, yes.
Alison, I think the hand went down, so apologies, Alison. I see you might have lowered your hand, but Alison, please proceed.
Yes,
Sorry,
no problem. Could you please share the agenda on the screen? I don't have anything in front of me at the moment. I'm using my cell phone.
Is that possible, Poena?
It certainly is. Let me just get it there. Sorry. I'll just find the correct page. Just bear with me for a moment.
Sorry, Nicole, while MeetingPal is looking to share the screen, I see that we did get a schedule of insurance replacement values. I see that it was carried out by ADSHA. I've heard very, very good things about them in the industry, and a few of my friends that live in bodies corporates as well do use their services. I would like to understand, though, when we are due to have another schedule of another replacement valuation undertaken. I can recommend a company. There's a company by the name of Murphin. They do valuations. Is that something that the body corporate is going to be looking at?
So that is something that's typically done, well, in terms of the act, something that's required to be done every 3 years. And as you can see, we've now done it in December 2024. So the next time that the body corporate will be due would be December 2027. Perfect. Andres? You just on mute.
Andrew, just hover over the faces or the. There we go.
There we go.
We heard you there for a moment.
Sandy also wanted to raise a point, and she was interrupted by Alison that couldn't wait her turn.
No problem. I'm glad to see that we would ensure that the best in the market out there. They've got the YouTube videos. They do everything the best. I don't want to go with anyone else. So if I can just sell the point of we stay with ADSHA and we can either choose CIA or CRB. I'm not happy with our insurance. I've got them on my personal insurance and I'm moving away from them. So that's it for me on insurance. Let's just vote and get it over with.
Thank you, Sandy. Andres, I'm not sure if you are unable to mute yourself, but your hand is still raised. But I think in the meantime, Poena, let's open the voting, please.
Voting has been opened, Madam Chair. Votes are coming in. We currently have 28% of owners that have voted. If you are experiencing any problems voting, please with me on the call also. I forgot to mention our team from MeetingPal. In the chat, you can drop chats to us and we can also ensure that we support you directly as well.
Yes, I'm just in a meeting quickly. Just hang on a second. Yeah, I know. It's taking forever.
Sorry.
No, I know. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Sorry.
Apologies, I've missed the button there, but I've now muted everybody. Please, in order of good conducting of the business at hand, if you could just please mute yourself until you've raised your hand and the chair have acknowledged you, and then you can then address the meeting.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to give it 2 more seconds. I don't see any progress and or movement on the voting yet. At this point in time, I can confirm that the schedules have been approved with 93.1034% of owners have approved the schedule of replacement values.
Perfect. Thank you, Poena. Then I think we can move on to the next insurance item, which is to determine the extent of insurance cover by the body corporate in terms of prescribed management rule 23.6, 7, and 8. Which is the public liability insurance and public liability insurance, and if there are any additional risks to be covered. Linda?
Could you just confirm that we've got sufficient fidelity insurance in place? Because I know that we don't have trustees, but what happens if somebody goes and makes the wrong mistake and we all lose our money?
Yes, so I can confirm that ZFIN has the required cover in place, and we are protected in terms of our fidelity cover. So although it's not the trustees, it extends to the employees of the body corporate. Marion?
I can't see the additional insurance values in the pack. Can you tell me what page number it's on, please?
Sure, I'm just checking for you.
It wasn't sent, Marion. That's obviously one of the documents that they were waiting for that they couldn't be bothered to send.
So how are we supposed to vote on something if we don't know what we're voting on?
Exactly. That's my problem as well.
Candice?
Mike, sorry, somehow Candice and I have got the same link.
Thank goodness. Mike can finally answer our questions. That's amazing. Thank you.
So yes, Marion, the schedule of replacement values is in the pack. I can't see the screen. Poena, did you share it on the screen? The pack?
I'll find it.
And maybe you can scroll down. What we normally do is we actually would, in an unsimulated situation, we would share our screen and put up the schedule of replacement values, or the managing agent runs them, the schedule, like Poena is going to do now, I think. I see you have got it there. I see it being scrolled down too.
No,
will it show on the big screen?
Sorry, the schedule of replacement values is there.
Yes.
But it's the additional insurance that I was asking about. I don't see that in the pack.
It wasn't in the pack.
Yeah, we would normally present it here, the additional. When you're saying additional, you're not talking about the additional columns, Marion. Are you speaking about the fidelity, liability, and so on?
Yeah, yes, correct.
Okay. Some
Sorry.
well-run, like one in Cape Town, one particular scheme starting with an S in Cape Town, they would do stuff very well and put in the pack, certain things. Many other bodies corporate, most of them come to this agenda item, and then either the chairperson or myself would present the figures, sometimes with a PowerPoint slide, as my colleague Candice, who's also on with us this morning, often does for us, and we show the amount of fidelity, how it was calculated, and we also show the liability. I've actually done some homework in case the question popped up. Would you like to know how the fidelity is worked out, for example?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, please, Mike.
Okay, so you'll see there's a budget. There's a budget that ZFIN presented. They've presented a budget, and they had figures. They had an administration figure at the top, and they also had the reserve figure, I think. I'm working from memory.
Yes.
And I've used their figure, their admin figure. It's a little bit more to it, but in this case, I've taken the budget figure of 407,578, taken 25% of that. This is how the formula works. And you get 101,894. Then we take that figure and we add it to the amount of investments and reserves as defined, but it's a very difficult definition to unravel. So what we do, and what we recommend that our clients do, and other auditors who are well known all agree with our method, because we've done some homework on it, that you just take all of your assets and you just would flush out, for example, fixed assets, like if the body corporate owns a unit, don't add that in. Any cash, investments, money that's due soon, we add that. Let's just say it's 2 million rand in total here for round figures. Then your minimum fidelity figure is 2,101,894. So we round that to 2,200,000, and we make sure that we're insured for at least that amount. And I can confirm that the body corporate is insured for that exact amount. So that should be fine.
Perfect. So just before we hand over to the hands raised, that was going to be my suggestion to the floor, is that if Mike, as our as the body corporate insurance provider, could perhaps just confirm to members that the minimum required fidelity fund insurance and the public liability insurance is in place, then perhaps we can vote on it now, and we will just ensure that we circulate the relevant documents when we receive it to members after the meeting. Perfect. Glenn, over to you.
Madam Chair, sorry, Clive had his hand up first and then Glenn.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't see the order here. Perfect.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the Poena for facilitating. My question is very blunt. Why on earth must the body corporate pay the premium on a fidelity policy for the act of infidelity by another party? I find that outrageous, and I personally think nobody should vote on that until somebody can really clear this up. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, perhaps maybe not. I'm not the best at insurance. I don't specialize in insurance, but I mean, it's a kind of similar idea as car insurance, no? So you pay your insurance provider a monthly premium, and if someone drives into you, they sort everything out for you. That's the whole point of insurance. But perhaps Mike could give a more detailed answer.
Okay, so it's actually a long story, so I'm going to keep it very short. So thank you for that question, Clive. We are not necessarily leaning in the same direction on that one, and here's why. In the past, experience was up until 2016, particularly the previous 15 years, there were lots of incidences where bodies corporate lost money. I even got into trouble for publicly saying that it was a very, very high risk, not only for naughty managing agents taking money or overreaching into the fish pond, but certainly many trustees. And trustees were just not agreeing to have fidelity cover and or to check whether the managing agent had it. And then, of course, you've got no control. So the legislators put forward that all bodies corporate must have this cover. And it was a very, very good decision, because they brought the cost of fidelity cover right down. Because the minute everybody has to have it, it's almost like Sasria or your, I suppose, a television license or anything. If everybody's paying, the costs are down. And it reduced the cost by almost, ridiculous. It used to be 5%. That's why nobody did it. Now, I understand your question that everybody doesn't like paying for a risk. You're not going to steal the money, so why should you pay for it? Well, you are. It's theft. The robber is not going to pay a premium for the policy that you have to protect your house from being broken into. So, you need to cover yourself. I can tell you now that the managing agent, if one of their staff members was naughty and they took the money, you'll get paid out straight away, provided you do all the right things in terms of the policy. But the insurance company are going to go to the managing agent, and that's when the managing agent's policy is going to have to protect them. They're going to have to
That's
settle
great.
your
Thank you,
insurer.
Mike. I'm very happy with that. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Glenn?
I'm just sitting here. Hello, folks. Sorry that my exhaust is purposefully turned to the loudest, especially to Aubrey. So when I come in, it's particularly loud. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the numbers for the insurance, and it looks like we've had a 35% increase. To add, sure, we just suddenly changed from dial direct because my BMW is fancy, and it's we got that 400 Rand from Outsurance, and then we went elsewhere. And why can't we just shift our policy and go to the market and ask the market for a cheaper price? Surely everybody's dying to do business with a complex of 300 units. I mean, this is a big premium. It's 100 Rand a month.
Can I answer?
Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. That's a very, very good question. What a broker is supposed to do, and I know that it is lacking in the market, I do encourage all of the brokers that work with sectional title to do it properly, is you're supposed to do an annual review and go to the market anyway. When I get asked that question during the year, I always just say, well, we did it for you 3 months ago. Here's the record of advice that was sent to your managing agent. So it should be done automatically. Your market should be tested. That's the first part. The second point is, and I'm going very quickly here, is cheapest isn't always best. I've got an incident now where a body corporate has come and said, I can get my premium for much cheaper. Yeah, but in 6 months' time, you're going to actually have no insurance because your claims ratio is not sustainable, and a good broker would guide and make sure that you're not going too cheap, that you're putting the whole scheme at risk. That's a story for another day. Plenty of videos on that if you go to our YouTube channel. AdShare YouTube, quick ad, go and have a look. There's a lot on that. It all comes down to claims ratio. And you've got to look and see as a body corporate what is causing that premium to go up. It will be your claims ratio, and it's 60% chance, because 60% of claims are geyser related, it will be your geysers. And I can recommend that you look at that. You try and think about, and if dynamic of every scheme is different, you've got to look at it individually. But 9 out of 10, if the geyser shoe is hurting and you go and tackle why, you look at the statistics, an experienced broker can help you there. You can probably mitigate by going to a call center operation with your broker, or using the correct plumbers, and also, very importantly, looking for a product. There's a product, there are some products. One of them, the one that we fancy, is obtainable through 0861 Waterlight, a stainless steel product. I do see in the pack that their information is available, all of the advantages of using a longer lasting stainless steel geyser, and we do. It's one of the very few recommendations for products that we do, and we strongly do recommend that as a mitigation to bring your premiums down. Thank you.
So, sorry, Sandy, I know your hand is raised, and I really would like to give you the opportunity to raise your point. I just note that under new and further business for the scheme, we are discussing some potential geyser and solar proposals presented by Mr. Glenn van der Vyver, and I note that he has to leave the meeting shortly. So perhaps we could just move that item up. I do feel that we would be very disappointed if we had to adjourn this meeting without hearing from Mr. Vyver on the opportunities for the body corporates. Marion, I'll take your hand off afterwards.
No, sorry, please. This is about the order of proceedings. I have a time constraint as well, so I think we should get through the mandatory things first and then have the information later.
We can't be rushed. We can't be rushed. If the meeting needs to stand adjourned, then we can come back. We'll come back tomorrow, not so?
Unfortunately, we'll come back in a week's time.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
Because if we have to not have a quorum next week, then that's going to take us into the Christmas holiday period. So what, are we waiting for like next year again before we have a meeting?
No, at the reconvene meeting, whoever arrives, the meeting will continue. Perfect. So members, up to you. Are you happy to hear from Mr. Pfeffer quickly, and then we can move on to the rest of the business? Perfect.
I'm sorry, I'm actually interested to hear from Glenn, because I understand that he was a trustee when his company was appointed to attend to our geysers and solar project. So I'd like to hear how that was dealt with when he was a trustee. And I also believe that it was because of him pushing through this appointment that that we had to appoint an executive managing agent.
So just to put your, before I hand over to Glenn, just to put your mind at ease, Zelinda, Glenn actually resigned as a trustee very, very long ago, before the project actually came about, so that he could offer the services to the body corporate without there being any conflict of interest. As I understand it, he has also, you know, secured a pretty good deal and offer for the body corporate. So I think let's hear him out, and then the owners can take it further. Over to you, Glenn.
Thank you, owners, for taking the time to listen to us. As you heard Mike say, that the biggest portion of, or the biggest challenge that owners in the sectional title body corporate faces is regarding their insurance policies is geysers. If 80 to 90% of your geysers amount to the claims ratio, essentially, then perhaps it's time to take a serious look at the problem at hand. Yes, while we initially were involved as a trustee, we felt it in our interest to step back and offer the body corporate a solution that, for the longevity of their geysers, essentially doubles their lifespan of the geyser. So we have manufactured a stainless steel geyser and offer that through the insurers to the body corporate. It's a slight change of the norm in terms of geyser replacements, because you don't pick up the phone and phone Piet's not plumbing, and he comes racing out in his Audi A1 with a ladder strapped to the roof and the tank balancing on the bonnet. We actually have to go through the call center because it gives the call center control, and they're able to track and monitor all the claims going through the complex, and that way participate in the day-to-day claims for a complex. So by having a longer-lasting stainless steel geyser and having a controlled environment where claims are managed and looked at properly by the guys actually paying the accounts, we managed to try and work to a point where we try alter that claims ratio and significantly alter it, where currently perhaps the claims ratio might be sitting at 70% geyser replacements. We hope to change that to 30% geyser replacements and 70% repairs. Yes, we will need to go through our complex of 300 units and slowly implement them on a case-by-case basis as and when the insurer fails. But through the broker AdSure, we've managed to get the right limits. We've perhaps even got a preferential excess lined up for the complex, because the insurer sees the benefit, and we've been with this particular insurer, whichever it may be, for quite some time, and they're starting to see the benefits of these things. So they're quite eager to implement this and slowly change the trajectory of the claims ratio for the complex. It's not going to happen overnight. They're not going to arrive and suddenly replace all your geysers just because they want to. They're not going to replace a geyser because Piet's Not Plumbing arrived and climbed up in the roof, and it was 3 stories high, and they put their own ladder up, and they told you it definitely burst. Without a question, it's going to burst. If not today, in the next couple of hours, it'll definitely burst, because they can see it's old. They will actually wait for an active leak, and we need to justify that active leak. And we need to be able to show them that there's an active leak on the geyser, so that they can say, yep, all approved, no problem, go ahead. And that stainless steel geyser then forms part of the replacement. It's predefined in the policy. It's acceptable, and the homeowners don't even, not all the trustees or the managing agent or everybody needs to particularly know about it. It's a relationship that happens with the insurer directly. We have pre-approval to do whatever we need to do. We arrive, we get the excess paid by the homeowner before anything is done. You have to receive the excess before even touching the geyser or doing any work, any remedial work whatsoever. And once we've received that excess, we're able to proceed. The stainless steel geysers will change the lifespan of the geyser from 5 years to in excess of 10 years. We warranty the geyser for 10 years and hope that changes the claims ratio.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Glenn. Folks, unfortunately, I just need to remind everyone that we only have this online venue for an hour. So we're going to have to close the meeting and adjourn it. Just a reminder that fresh notice will go out. So we will most likely only have the adjourned meeting in the new year. We will be taking final comments from people, but just consider now the meeting to be closed and the remainder. Okay, Alison, you were first.
No, sorry, that was an accident.
No problem at all. Zelinda? I love the sound effects.
There's so many comments that I have, so many. I really think that you should have planned to have this meeting at a time when it was convenient to everybody. But I do think that we should keep the floor open for discussion for another few minutes because it's very important that we're all heard.
Absolutely, yes. I see Glenda has her hand raised. Just remember to unmute yourself. Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions they would like to raise?
I just want to point out if owners cannot unmute themselves, it's most probably because they've not given themselves the right for the system to use their microphone and camera. It's a security issue that we cannot address from our side. That's a pity. We are working on seeing how we can circumvent that, but it is a security issue.
Thank you. Joan, I think your hand was raised.
You muted, sir. Just hover over oh, ma'am. Sorry, Joan. Joan? Perhaps she's not addressing the meeting.
Perfect. Zelinda? Or yeah, you can go for it. Sorry, I just can't see who else's hand is raised now.
So having been an owner in the scheme for 45 years, I would like to compliment, although I didn't like a lot of what you said, I would like to compliment you, Chairperson, for the way in which you dealt with the meeting. I must say that normally when I raise my very legitimate concerns, I simply get muted. And a few times I've been removed from the meeting. So I have been asking for more physical meetings to take place because I'd like to see somebody try to physically remove me from a meeting. So thank you very much for your role. And then to MeetingPal, I think that this was absolutely brilliant. And the fact that I can now have an independent party verify the outcome of votes and to ensure that the actual owners, as opposed to tenants and spouses, have registered for the meeting has been exceptional. So I just like to compliment the management in that regard. And of course, I can't say anything that faults the executive managing agent. So thank you.
No worries. Perfect. Anybody else? Who is this person? Someone else's hand is...
I see Joan's hand is still raised. Joan, if you would like to unmute yourself, just unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
I think on that note, ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us at our Neighbourhood's annual general meeting. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for the actors and actresses in the background. You guys did an amazing job. And for our colleagues that we put on the spot with regards to giving us documentation for our pack and preparation, and especially a big thank you to Poena and his team. I know that it's almost the full team that you've got online today, which is really great. And for those of you that don't know, you don't have to run all your meetings through MeetingPal. If you have a particularly acrimonious meeting or a meeting that you need somebody independent to chair, to take minutes, to attend to the voting, MeetingPal are most certainly your go-tos. And for our colleagues that participated, Mike and Glenn and Aubrey, thank you so much for your participation and your time as well. To move off from our neighborhood's annual general meeting, I do think that it was a pretty good reflection of how annual general meetings do run. There's always that one owner. I think in our neighborhood we had a few. And thank you so much for signing up to our neighborhood as well to gain access to the pack. I hope that you'll stick around for a while and check it out. Our neighborhood will only really become successful if we get our membership and our numbers up. So if there's any comments or any suggestions from your side, please do share it with us as well. Ladies and gents, we can keep the floor open for another couple of minutes. Poena, I think we can stop the recording if there's anything that anyone would like to add before we call it quits on 2024.